Well, I'd like to, by way of introduction, talk a little bit about Numbers, end of chapter 10. In that particular section of the Moshe and Moses.
Richard Rose here.
Would we be able to delay a little bit because some people might be just arriving and the singing noise is really disturbing?
Unfortunately, this is a live conference call, which means it's like someone walking into an actual session. So they can always hear back the recorded message, and I would appreciate if you can give them that information of the contact number, and I'll repeat it before the end of the call. I'm sorry, Rabbi Katz, go ahead.
Right. So in that section of the Torah, there's a dialogue between Moses, between Moshe and his father-in-law, Yethro. And here Moshe is trying to persuade his father-in-law to stay with them and journey with him to Israel. And Yethro says, no, I think I can do better going back to Midian, to my own family, and I can convert them, I can talk to them, I can get them to become either Jews or observant B'nai Noah. And Moshe again appeals to him. He says, if you come with us, the good things that God is going to do for us, he'll do for you as well. And there's no answer. We don't know what happened. What did Yethro agree to go to join them, or did he go back to Midian? And the commentators give different opinions as to what he ended up doing. But it's clear that whatever he ended up doing, his family, a large portion of his family, did go with the Jews into Israel. And it says that God gave them, because when the land was divided up amongst all the tribes, God gave them a portion to that family. So they were given, it says in the prophets, the Ir Tamarim, the city of palm date, of date palms. Most of us seem to think of that as being Jericho. The city of Jericho was given to the family of Yethro. And I shouldn't say always, since I've been involved with B'nai Noach, I used to think about this particular passage more than at previous times. I'm getting a lot of echo back over what I'm saying.
That's probably through the PAL talk. Is there any way we can lower that? Okay, I think it was just done. Okay, go ahead.
All right, I'll continue. If people know, if someone converts and becomes a Jew, we don't isolate them and, make sure that they maintain their status as a convert. On the contrary, we welcome them, we embrace them, we bring them into the fold. Of course, someone who converts into Judaism cannot become a member of any of the tribes. That's not possible. That you can only have through birth. But the convert will marry a Jew, and then the children will belong to the tribe of the grandfather, the great-grandfather. But what I'm saying is that the convert is absorbed into the Jewish family. And here we're taking an entire town, a city, what do you want to call it, and giving it to a group of converts and say, you live amongst yourselves in this town, and we're not absorbing you into the rest of the people. And they became the Canaanites. And the Canaanites you'll be familiar with a number of other times in Jewish history, most notably when Sisera, the time of the judges, Deborah was the judge, and her husband Barak was defeating Sisera, and Sisera ran tried to escape by going into the tent of Yael, and Yael killed him, and Yael was the wife of Hever HaKeni, the Canaanite, and that was one of the descendants of Yethro, of this group. Later on, at the time of King Saul, when he does battle against Amalek, again, the Canaanites are told to leave the intended battle area because they are at peace with Israel. So it seems that they remain a different group, a separate group, who have a bond or a treaty with Israel. If you're going to say they're converts, it makes no sense to me at all. The only way this makes sense to me is if they were a Noahide community. They were a community of B'nai Noach. So in other words, the family of Yethro did not convert, but became what we call observant B'nai Noach. So it means that now we have in Israel, we have three communities. We have the community of Israel, the Jews. We have the communities of the idolaters, the pagans, the heathens who are constantly creating problems, Moab, Ammon, Amalek, Ashur, Assyria. And then we have this pocket, this town, and perhaps there were pockets elsewhere, of Noahides, of observant B'nai Noach, living in their own communities, but in close proximity to the Jews. That's what I think is the way it was set up at the time of the conquest of Israel. So that must, to us, that must be a model of what we are supposed to be creating for the future as well. Which means, therefore, that B'nai Noach, observant B'nai Noach, should not seek to incorporate themselves into a Jewish community, but rather they should seek a way of creating their own independent communities that will have this kind of a treaty, this bond, this interaction with their neighboring Jewish communities. That's the biblical model for where we should be getting, in my opinion. Do we have any feedback or questions about this before we proceed?